Okay. Well, we are up and running. You ready to do this?
I'm ready.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the What You Don't Hear podcast. This is a 15-minute Friday. And if you're listening to this on Friday, well, hope you had a good week. And now, if you're listening to this podcast, the goal is to send you into your weekend with some actionable or positive advice. And I am sitting down with another returning guest here on the show, one that I have been trying to get to do a 15-minute Friday for a while. Nathan, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yes, it's been quite some time, so I'm very happy to be here.
I am very stoked to have you do this.
Absolutely.
I feel like I ever since your full episode, it's always been in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, all right, now we got to break that down on the specific subjects. I got to have him back on, got to get some advice. We got your story. Now it's time to share those advice and opinions. So someone's listening to this. It's a Friday. Maybe they had a chaotic week. Maybe they got a chaotic week coming up. But the goal is, you think we can give them some good, actionable advice on a specific subject to take into their weekend?
I think so. I hope so.
I think we can do it.
Yeah.
I certainly hope so. So the subject of this 15-minute Friday is the importance of taking breaks. Now, this is a big thing. And when you brought this up to me, you were like, "Hey, I'd be down to do an episode over this." I was a very big fan of that because this is something that I, in recent time, at least at the time of us recording this, that I kind of had a big breaking point on of realizing how important it actually is to take breaks.
For sure.
So, before we go any further, I am going to start our clock.
Start us off.
And we are going to get 15 minutes going. All right.
Awesome.
So, now that I've started this, I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork a little bit. And it's actually funny because you and I haven't talked about this because we haven't seen each other in a while.
I know, it's been a minute.
So, over the last handful of months, I had a big awakening, I suppose, of honestly how bad I've been at taking breaks and allowing myself to slow down. I thought like months ago, like buying an Xbox and playing it like once a week, I was like, that's all the relaxation I need. Right. I shouldn't do anything else. Like I need to, and like, I both pride myself on this, but also it's a blessing and a curse. I am always in go mode.
Yeah.
I am always like, let's go. I want to create. I want to think of ideas. I want to whatever. But sometimes it comes back to bite you. So I guess that's kind of what I want to throw to you to kick us off is, when did you find out it was important for yourself to take breaks?
Well, I think I'm still figuring it out. I think that it is such an important thing, and it's so undervalued by so many people. We're a part of a culture where you're kind of rewarded for working yourself into the ground. So it's hard to fight against that. But in terms of when it really became apparent to me, I would honestly say really at the beginning of the pandemic, which I think breaks during the pandemic that's a whole separate topic that we could talk about, that because it is its own thing. Right. But the idea behind it really did become apparent to me mainly when, me and my band we just came off of a show in Columbus, our first like big show in Columbus. Not even big in the sense that there was a lot of people, but just big for us because we put a lot of time into it, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we just worked really hard for it. And that was on Valentine's Day that we played that show. And then 2 weeks later, everything
kind of when everything kicked in.
Yeah, everything hit the fan. And I think for me, I had built up kind of my career as a musician into such a vital part of my life that when I was told all of a sudden, hey, all this momentum you have, now you're going to have to put that on hold because of what's happening, it was harder than I realized in the moment. And now having some time to reflect on that, I can see it more clearly that just how much of a toll that kind of took on me just personally, because I had put so much time and so much sweat into what we're working on and still are. I think that things will come back around, and that's another conversation as well. But I think in the midst of that, I really kind of realized that maybe it is okay to just take a breath for a second, and just
Right.
just relax, kind of assess what's going on, and uh, just figure out what it is that you want to be saying, or if you want to be saying anything at all right now,
Hmm.
which I think was the case for a lot of people. So that's when it really became clear to me that, yeah, maybe it is okay to slow down, gain some fresh perspective that you maybe wouldn't have gotten otherwise had you continued pressing on.
Right.
And I think each time you do that, and you do it in a constructive way, you pick up something new and you learn something new that you can apply moving forward. So I think that's really over the last 6 months has been for me when all of this has started to kind of click.
Yeah, which I feel like that's got to be a lot of people, right? Like, I
It
mean,
has to be,
I just
especially creatives.
yeah, I just started the episode by saying like, well, I had a run in with this,
Right.
months ago, and you're
Yeah.
saying the same thing.
Yep.
Like, I guarantee like a lot of people have identified that,
Yeah.
and I think like the good thing is like with a forced break, you
Yeah.
understand how important just resting
Yeah.
is, because like for me, like all of a sudden we're sitting at home and you literally can't go do anything. But then
Yeah.
as soon as things open back up, I was lucky enough to have a flood of work come
Yeah.
in. But then I didn't realize, because normally I'm like, again, always in go mode, always
Right.
ready to do anything and everything.
Sure.
But this time it was going like 0 to 100. And you can't always do that.
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes when you get caught in those certain gears where you're like, this is just, I'm always on.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember, like, oh, wait, like I was just doing nothing. Now I'm trying to do everything. You have to find a balance in your workflow,
Sure.
realistically, whether it's actual just like job work, or balancing it just with your life or your,
Yeah.
your passions or your goals, your dreams, anything.
Right.
And like, just like you said, like, I'm still trying to get good at that.
Oh yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out like, how do I actually balance it? What kind of workflow works well for me?
Right.
Because even though I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, I'm identifying that breaks are important, I'm still not the best at always taking them,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you just catch that flow of something of like, oh yeah, this is really working. I'm knocking all this out. But I have been able to kind of turn the page of like, hey, you know what? Like, if I just want to sit and watch Netflix today, I can do that,
Yeah.
because I know that I have it consciously in me, and I trust in my like self-discipline that, if I take all day to relax today,
Yeah.
tomorrow I know I'll get back at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that that's very true. And I think that it's counterintuitive, because what people don't realize is a lot of people, and I identify as one of these people too, though, like we just talked about, work, 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 until finally you're just like, I can't even think anymore. I don't know what's going on. And, I'm not saying that we should wear that as a badge of honor, because this is what I think is exactly what zaps productivity and creativity. Because in all reality, when you get yourself to that breaking point, you need a long time to recover, and a long time could be a week, a long time could be a month. I mean, it could be a year, right? Depending on what else is happening in your life, and what's happening in the world. All of that stuff factors in as well. But I think what we need to realize is to maybe not take the tasks and take the dream so seriously. Just take some of that pressure off, and breathe a little bit, and take a step back and say, okay, do I really need to constantly just be like, oh, I got to think about this, and I got to think about this, and I got to do this, and I got to do that? Is that really true? Or really, do you just need to execute on these two things for the day, and your mind doesn't need to be constantly worrying with all of these ideas and all of these things that you think are so important, but really serve you no purpose in that moment? So kind of this idea of, let's cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's focus on what's actually in front of us, and not get so caught up in the kind of the high we get from living in our own head. And it's so exciting, right? Because that's such a freeing thing, and you get so much inspiration from that and so much motivation from that. But what you have to realize is just as down days come back up, up days are going to come back down too. So maintaining kind of this baseline in your head of like, okay, I'm feeling really good right now. I'm ideating. I'm thinking about all these different things, but here's what's actually important, and it's right here in the middle, and that's really where I need to stay.
Something you said in there made me wonder this. So, like, do you feel like a lot of people identify so much with the thing they're pursuing, so they almost forget how to
Sure.
they forget who they are when that thing isn't there.
Yes.
So when it is time to just
Yeah.
sit and relax,
Yeah.
you sometimes don't know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that because, and I think we've talked about this in another episode, but detaching yourself from what it is you're passionate about, again, is something else that seems so counterintuitive, but is so important, because if you live and die by that sword, you're going to be consumed by every feeling you have about everything that you do. And the key to long-term, long-lasting, sustainable success, in my opinion, is seeing it for what it is, understanding that in the good times, when you're on top of the world, and you just played a great gig, or you just had a great video shoot, whatever the case may be, realizing that that's not who you are, which sounds so strange because you put so much time and effort into being that thing, and it's great to be that thing in the moment, but realizing at the end of the day, if all of this went away, this is what I am. That's such an important thing, and you don't learn that lesson. See, what happens is a lot of people get caught up in that in the bad times, because something's going wrong, and they feel so connected to it, and then what they do is they say, oh wait, this isn't me. This is just a thing that's happening to me, and I can grow through this, and I can get past this, and then things start to get better. And I've victimized myself in this cycle all the time.
Yeah, same.
So the thing that happens is then things start to feel better, and you're like, oh, you know what? I just need to avoid this mistake this time, and then this won't happen again. So you start to chug along, and you're coming back up the hill, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm back up on top again. See, I'm good. This is what I am. This is who I am, and then crash, right? So and this is the cycle of all things. Mm-hmm. It's cyclical. It's constant. That the only thing that is constant is that nothing is ever going to stay the same for long. So detaching yourself from the good to a certain extent will help you protect yourself from the attachment you feel to the negative things that happen in your life.
Yeah. Now, do you think that feeds into like the idea, because I know that I'm guilty of this.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm literally asking you the advice right now. I get really caught up on, man, if I take a day off, if I quit, or not quit, but if I stop,
I quit.
If I relax, that means I'm quitting.
Right.
I've got this end goal in mind. I'm pursuing this passion, whatever it is, whether it's a job, a life goal, anything. I think it's very easy for a lot of people to get caught up in like, well, relaxing or taking a break. You kind of process it in your mind sometimes that is quitting. Yeah. And all of a sudden, well, now maybe if I'm not working every single day towards my goal, that means it's going to get further away, or I'm going to miss an opportunity. Yeah. Like, does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And I think without going over our time here, the best way to answer that is to say, it's hard to phrase for me, because this is something that I still deal with on a daily basis too. But again, it just has to do with that same detachment from whatever the thing is, whether you're a songwriter, or whether you race cars. I mean, it could be anything, anything that you're passionate about. Obviously, you're driven and you want to do well in that thing. So, again, just having this understanding that it's not going to work out like it did in whatever movie you watched and, got super inspired. And I don't know if you're guilty of that, but I do that all the time. I'm like, I just got to do what they did in this movie. And life's not a romantic comedy, right? So understanding and taking it for what it is, and just realizing, like, I'll take the wins when I can get them, and I need to learn to relax, because if I don't, I'm just going to drive myself into the ground. And I think that coupling that with just kind of psychoanalyzing yourself and asking, like, okay, what is the thing in my life right now that's causing me to be so hyper-focused on this that I can't take a break? I can't stop. I think there's a lot more truth to that than people want to admit, and I think a lot of it is ego, which we all deal with on a daily basis. But usually an obsession can be good. An obsession with whatever your craft is a good thing, but it can pass a line where it becomes unhealthy, and you have to ask, like, what am I doing right now, or what's going on in my life that is so hard for me to deal with that I'm completely consumed with this thing, and I'm trying to make myself this thing. What are you afraid that you actually are that's forcing you to assume a different identity? Because
Yeah.
any assumed identity is not good, and I don't know if that's even the right terminology, but anytime you project yourself into the thing, whatever it is not a good place to be, because it's not truly who you are. I mean, it can be a piece of who you are, and in a moment, it can be the whole of who you are, but it
Hmm.
can't always be. It
Right.
can't always be who you are.
Well, I think again what you have already said, like is finding that detachment and
Right.
understanding like what am I when this thing, whether
Yeah.
it's a job, a career, a
Yeah.
dream, a goal, whatever it is, what am I when this thing isn't around?
Right.
And
Right.
then being okay with like I'm just gonna take the day off. I'm just gonna be me.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah,
I'm
like
just a dude
I'm
that's just doing this thing, and
exactly.
at the end of the day, nobody really fucking cares, and you have to kind of take that stoic approach to it,
Yeah,
and that's something that I've thought about a lot lately. But like, we're gonna die one day, and nobody's really gonna care either
yeah,
way.
yeah.
So who cares that you played the wrong note, or you didn't make this sound the way you wanted it to, or this the colors off in this photo, whatever it is, nobody cares.
Well, I think that's honestly a great point. Even as we kind of wrap up here,
Yeah.
like that's a great point because I feel like I'm guilty of this, and what I think maybe it is for a lot of people is, don't you always feel like everyone is watching?
You do, because you think your ego thinks that you're important, and not yours specifically, mine too, but we're not. Nobody's really that important. We're all just flailing our wings, like trying to figure it out, So again, the theme of this episode is kind of how counterintuitive all of this can be, but if you take a step back and you allow yourself to take that in, and just be brave enough to look at something in a different way, I think that what you find is, oh yeah, like nobody cares, least of all me. It's fine.
Dude, love it.
Yes.
We've hit our 15 minutes.
We have.
So I'm going to stop the
Yeah.
clock. Last bit here.
Yeah.
What's your go-to advice for learning how to relax? And literally it can be as simple as like grab your favorite drink, turn on your favorite show on Netflix. That's what I do when I need to decompress and kind of detach myself from, being obsessed with my goal, whatever it is. What's your go-to advice? Somebody's about to start their weekend. Maybe they want to relax. What are you going to tell them?
I think that before you do any of that stuff, you need to, before you watch Netflix or before you pick up your guitar or whatever it is you do to relax, you need to just take a moment for yourself. And for me, it's not even taking a moment for myself. It's taking a moment for somebody else, So forcing yourself to put something else first. And the example that I'll use is my dog. I get home from work, and obviously the first thing I need to do is let my dog outside. But the best kind of evenings that I have, and the best writing sessions that I have usually come after not just like taking my dog outside, but more so letting my dog take me somewhere, right? And this will all start to make sense in a second, but what I mean by that is go do something that somebody else is in charge of, and or something else is in charge of, and let that guide you to the destination you need to get to, not necessarily the one where you're like, I gotta get this done, or I gotta get to this, or I need to be in this frame of mind, or I'm gonna watch this movie. None of that really matters. The important thing is to decompress and unwind a little bit, and for me, what I find is there's a direct connection between control and kind of my mood. The more in control I feel, which most of the time is great to be in control and feel in control, but the more you can let go of that and just let something just happen without your input, I think that puts you into the headspace to maybe not even need to quote unquote relax in the sense of, oh, I'm just gonna relax and watch a movie. Sometimes for me, I come home thinking I just need to go to bed tonight, and then I go outside and it's beautiful outside and my dog's running around and I'm just kind of letting her do her thing, and what I realize is, oh yeah, like I just was kind of looking at the wrong way, but actually I think I'm gonna like go just like play some piano or something, and just chill. So it's not a destination, it's just just give up the control.
I feel like you unlock something for me right there, because I feel like every time, even when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna relax,
Yeah.
I almost make it a goal, because then I'm like, all right,
But check yourself on that next time.
yes, because I'm like, I need to relax, but whatever I watch, I'll still, like, I don't know if you ever do this, and we're getting so far over on time.
That's okay.
But I'll be like, I need to relax, but whatever movie or whatever show I'm gonna watch needs to inspire me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Right.
so bad
Oh,
about
yeah.
like, not that I never just watch something just for the enjoyment, but
It's almost
I
like you
will-
try to mentally prepare yourself for the next step.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's
But
exactly what
it'll
opposite
be
of what
there.
you just
It'll
said.
be there.
Yeah,
It'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there in a week. It'll be there in a year. Like, it'll be there. So.
dude, that was a great episode.
Yeah, it
Well,
was.
I hope you guys think so as well. For sure, if you found anything valuable in this, make sure to share it around the internet. Tag the podcast at WYDH Pod. Tag me. And if they want to find you, follow you, or tag you around the internet,
Yeah.
Nate, where can they find you?
So you can find my personal Instagram, where I share a lot of my life, some content with my dog. Shout out to Sophie. Also some musical content as well. That's at Nathan Winkelmes, and I'm not going to try and spell it for you, but Ross will put it somewhere in the description. And you can also check out my band, The Fears, at The Fears Music. We are on Instagram and Facebook, all social channels, Spotify, iTunes, all that fun stuff. So check us out and let us know what you think.
Beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you have a great weekend or week, or really whenever you're listening to this. I think there's something you can take from it no matter what it is. So, Nathan, thank you so much again, dude.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.